Woj, as we look to what they are planning to put together here, what are the most important things that all NBA fans need to know?
Greeny, in this resumption of the season, 8 regular season games for each team. And what'll be interesting is how they formulate those 8 games for teams. They're going to essentially take a shell of the team's remaining schedule, the next 8 games that they had before the season was shut down, and try to replicate that the best they can with the 22 teams who are there. And then if there are teams left for them to play that aren't among the 22, they'll build that off of who is there and the strength of schedule. For example, Memphis had the toughest had the most difficult schedule left. They're the 8th seed right now, and Portland, New Orleans had much easier schedules. So how does that help Portland, New Orleans, for example, to be able to make a move and get in position to get into a play-in game? Those are some of the factors that teams now understand as they head toward that vote today. That is going to be nearly unanimous in support of restarting the season.
Okay, so we're headed towards that, and they're trying to figure out the best they can. Look, I think we have to not allow perfect to be the enemy of good here. There's no system here that's going to be perfect. They're doing the best they can. I get it. Now, there are 8 teams that aren't going, however, and that means those teams are going to go something in the neighborhood of 9 months between playing games. What are the concerns related to that, and what is the league looking to do?
Well, especially among those teams that are younger, rebuilding, less so of a concern for the Golden State Warriors that, are going to bring back healthy all-stars to try to make another run in the Western Conference. But teams like Atlanta and Detroit, team like Charlotte, they want access to their young players. And they want to be able to not just get them in the gym physically and be working with them, but especially young players, who need the anchor of the organization, I think, for a level of stability and structure in their lives as they're developing their habits professionally. Those are really the concerns of teams. And, they've already started talking to the league office about giving them some ability in this offseason to have training camp, to be able to go play some scrimmage type fall league games, maybe with just each other. That's going to have to be collectively bargained with the Players Association, but it is a significant concern of those teams to go this long without playing.
Makes sense. All right, Woj, you'll be all over it today. Thank you very much, my man, and we'll check in a little bit later. Meanwhile, I have Jackie Mack ready to go as well. Our Jackie McMullen is here, been covering the NBA for an awful long time. Jackie, what stands out to you the most about how they're putting this together?
Well, I think the NBA succeeded in getting their star power that was going to be outside the perimeter of those 16 teams, specifically Zion. I think everybody wants to see more of Zion. You also get Damian Lillard into this mix, and he was pretty vocal about not wanting to play games that didn't have any meaning. So I think the 22-team format solves a lot of those problems for them. I think everybody is still holding their breath to see how they manage this in terms of the health of the players, the bubble, the daily testing. So there's still a lot more for us to see unveiled and how that's all going to work.
When you say holding their breath, what are you hearing from the players you talk to? You talk to so many people around the sport. What are the players in particular saying to you about their concerns related to that?
Well, it's interesting, Greeny, because I think it's shifted a little bit. Earlier in this process, I was hearing a lot of concerns about, am I going to be healthy? How am I going to do it? But I think in recent weeks, players are just chomping at the bit to get back. This is what they do. They play basketball for a living. So I've heard much less of that in recent weeks. And now Joe Ingles of the Utah Jazz was very vocal about his concerns about exposing his family. And I think maybe we'll hear a little bit of that as we go forward. But most of the players, GMs, coaches that I've talked to in the last week, they're raring to go. They want to play basketball.
And how will you view, as one whose job it is to sort of shape the narrative as we chronicle these things for the future, how will you view this championship this year? I've heard people suggest that there could be an asterisk and all the rest. We certainly understand it's different from anything they've ever done before. How will you view whoever emerges from this thing as the champ?
I don't subscribe to the asterisk. To me, if you can get out of this unprecedented situation, a worldwide pandemic, and you can become a champion under these conditions, you deserve to be a championship in my mind.
I agree.